So, yesterday I went out in Uptown St. John, and it was shopping day, and there was a craft fair, and I walked around, and I interviewed 14 people, I think it's 14, and 15 if you count one guy who declined the invitation to interview. He was right on board until I told him it was poetry. I said, well, I'm asking 3 questions. Do you like poetry? Do you find poetry influential? I said, the third one's not really a question, but I have some random poems here, and you pick one, and I will either read it to you, you can read it yourself. And then you just have to say, do you like it or not? No judgment, no questions asked. And he said, well, I'll stop you. So that was the questions I was telling people. So I was introducing what I was doing, project for masters, etc., etc. And he stopped me right away as soon as I said, do you like poetry or not? He said, I'm going to save you a whole bunch of time. I do not like poetry, go. And as I was walking away, I said, well, no sense wasting the footage. And he said, nope, no sense at all. So that was my experience yesterday with the only negative experience I had. But I've already posted, because while I'm recording this before I post what I'm going to post, so this is like a pre-recorded posting post. And I was actually pretty interested in the responses I got. So I had a wide selection of people, some people working in the market, some people working in the craft fair, and a few random passers-by. Oddly, the men, and I went to a writer's group just to kind of get some feedback there. There's a couple things I'm going to type blog, people who had language barrier issues, so they didn't want to be recorded, because they thought their English wouldn't be clear enough for them to engage in that level. So off recording, they shared some of their stories about whether they like poetry, not, whether it's influential or not, and then shared one of the stories of a poem, actually recited a poem for me in Chinese, which was kind of cool. And then they translated it and then explained, how we approach poetry so much different than the people in China do, which is kind of nice. So, today I am going to a basketball game, and the game is at 4, and I think it's about 2:30 now. So I'm going to go a little bit early, and I'm just going to randomly approach people who are waiting for the game and ask them, I've got a project. Same thing, ask you 3 questions, takes like 2-3 minutes. One of the things that developed out of this is I do now have a title for my project. It's called You Have to Give a Hand to Poetry, or You Got to Give a Hand to Poetry. And the reason why I came up with the title, You Gotta Give a Hand to Poetry, is there are some people who are too shy to talk on camera, and I understood that because I'm here putting my own poetry, which they don't know. There's this ambiguity. If they don't ask me if it's mine, I won't tell them it's mine. They just think it's random poems, just a kind of are. And putting that right out there for people to tell me to my face whether they like it or not before they even know it's mine. And I'm recording their reactions to while they read it or while I read it to them. So I feel like I'm quite exposed. So I understood, not everybody wants to go on camera. So I came up with this idea for people who are shy. I could do their hands. And their hands, you get body language out of hands. You can see them fidget or not fidget. Do they move? Do they tense or not? So it's been a very weird eclectic thing of doing hands. So hence, got to give a hand to poetry. And so while I'm talking to the people, it's just focused on the hands, which really takes your attention off of their facial features and directly onto what they're saying, but you're still focused on that there is a human being and a person there, and you do get some body language. So it's actually been kind of neat. So some people are like, no, my face. Some people, I don't care. And some people, hands please only. And I even had one person who was like, yeah, not even hands, but she would record. And then I've had other people who were just like, no recording any way, shape, or form. So it's actually been pretty interesting. So I hope you enjoy the posts. Today I'm going to sit here over the next hour or so and read my poems. Nothing that I'm posting is edited, by the way, so if it's long and digressive, I apologize, that's me. But I'm going to make separate clips of the poems, then I'm going to have the typed version, and then the actual poem itself recorded by me online. So then anybody from my courses or people from my Facebook group or their friends, can go and actually engage in the poetry on an online format. And yeah, that's what I'm doing today. So, basketball game, which is going to be really interesting because it's a sports venue and probably the place for everybody to say there'd be the least amount of love of poetry there. But after yesterday, I'm open-minded. I don't know what's going to happen, but it should be fun. So anyway, okay, bye. Till next post.